it.
I don't see the research station.
It's on the other side. This is our best anchorage. I expect you're looking forward to seeing Professor Bernard again, eh?
Oh, yes. It's almost 5 years since I've seen him. He instructed me in marine biology. He's brilliant.
Yes, I believe so. He'd be getting on a bit now, wouldn't he?
I suppose so, but he's indestructible. His last paper was a masterpiece of observation. You'll like him. Apart from being a genius, he's... Well, I know it's a hackneyed phrase, but he's a gentleman and a scholar. That describes him perfectly. He's brilliant, and he's a very gentle man.
No, 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 no! How many times have I got to tell you? You'll never make a scientist. Never, never, never!
I know. The algae level is right, but it's a chemical impossibility. 1 and 1 cannot equal 3.
Oh, what's the problem?
Well, Kip and I were doing some salinity tests, and according to the results we're getting, the water composition is out of balance.
Seems very simple to me. One of you has made a mistake.
That's where you came in, Captain. I was pointing out to Kip that he has made a mistake.
I have not made
You cannot have two conditions like this existing at the one time.
So, either we have an unprecedented chemical change in the water, or we have the possibility of human error.
See? It's very simple. You've made a mistake. Come on. Let's go through it again and find out where you went wrong.
Well, actually, I came to tell you I'm ready to take you ashore.
Oh, good. Well, let's go then.
And by the time you get back, I'll be ready to prove I haven't made a mistake.
Have fun.
I'm anxious to meet this professor of yours. To see why he inspires his pupils with such hero worship.
He's impossible, absolutely impossible. I can't do a thing right for him.
It isn't only you, girl. He never lets up on me, either. You know, sometimes I reckon the old fella's just getting past it.
If only he'd stop treating us as if we were in a kindergarten. And do you notice he's really got worse lately?
Think how excited we were to win the post-grad scholarship to study under the great Professor Bernard. The losers don't know how lucky they were.
Oh, it isn't that bad, Derek. He was wonderful when we first came to the research station. And you know, we've learned a lot from him. It's only the last couple of weeks that he's become so strange. Wonder who this is.
With any luck, it'll be a relief party to take us off this island. Come on. Might as well say hello. Hello, can we help you? My name's Derek Potter.
Ted King. Miss Tracy Dean.
And Gail Smith.
Hello. Hi.
We're looking for a Professor Bernard. I believe he's at the research station here.
That's right. We're studying under him.
Oh, you're very lucky. I was a pupil of his.
In marine biology?
Among other things.
Well, if you'd care to come with us, I'll show you where you can find the professor.
Thank you.
It's very comforting to meet you, Miss Dean. A real live survivor from the professor's regime. Seems there's hope for us yet.
Don't take any notice, Miss Dean. We've had a bad week, that's all. I don't think the professor's very happy with us.
The professor isn't very happy with anyone. Not even himself.
Strange. Doesn't sound at all like Professor Bernard.
Perhaps when he meets you again, it'll revive his good temper.
And what are we supposed to be doing? If I'm to go diving during the time off, I at least want to know what I'm looking for.
Samples of marine life, anything we can find. I know I'm right, Steve. I've run the test again and I've got exactly the same result. So there must be an explanation. We'll also get water samples at varying depths. And some fish.
All right.
There's something crazy about the sea around here.
Go away! I don't want to see either of you for the rest of the afternoon.
Professor Bernard? It's Tracy Dean. You do remember me, don't you?
Tracy, I thought. Tracy. Well. Well, how are you, my girl, eh?
I'm fine, thank you, Professor. And how are you?
Oh, I'm well. I'm very well.
See, I told you he's indestructible. Professor, I'd like you to meet Captain King, Professor Bernard.
How do you do, sir? How do you do? Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Come on in. Come on. Come in. How'd you get here?
I'm working on a ship which is anchored near here. It's a research ship.
A research ship around here? What kind of research?
Oh, we're not working here, sir. We were on our way south past the islands, and Tracy thought she'd like to pop in and say hello. She's told us a great deal about you.
That's nice. That's very nice. She was always a good pupil, Tracy. Not like the idiots they send me nowadays.
We met your assistants when we arrived. They seemed keen students.
Keen? They're keen. They know everything. They can't be told. You know what I heard that young man say the other day? That I should be retired. That my methods are old hat. And I know more about the barrier reef than any man living. I was working here before you were born.
Professor, I think the pressure
Leave
is
it. I'll handle it.
What are you working on at the moment, Professor?
Don't touch anything. You know I can't stand people meddling around with my things.
I'm sorry. I was just interested, that's all.
Yes, well, I don't get a chance to do anything much these days, not with wet nursing all these young puppies. You can't tell them a thing. They'll never develop into anything.
Perhaps young people of today have different ways of developing.
Rubbish. There's only one way to develop. The scientific method. Observation and deduction. You remember that, don't you? I taught you that.
Of course I remember, Professor.
Yes, you were a good student. Forgive me, my dear. I'm a little tired.
Perhaps you shouldn't be working so hard, Professor.
There, you see. You're just like the rest of them. Trying to force me into retirement. What would happen to the reef then, eh? What would become of it?
No good hacking at it. It'll only multiply. And watch those spikes. It's hardly moving. Steve, look at this. Let's check down further.
dying. It's turning into a graveyard.
How did you go?
It's incredible. The marine life is just dying. I saw a crayfish trying to get at some seaweed. He was too slow to catch it.
It's dead.
Yes. You can almost tear it away with your hand.
Cut yourself.
It's just a scratch, it's nothing.
Better attend to it.
Righto. I'll get something from the first aid kit.
What are you meddling in now?
I'm sorry, Professor. I'm trying to find something for Gail. She's not very well.
Too much sun, probably. All that lying around on the beach with no clothes on.
Gail does not lie around with no clothes on.
May as well have none on for all the clothes the young people are wearing these days. What seems to be the matter with her?
I don't know. She's just feeling faint and exhausted.
Here. Give her these. Tell her to rest.
Thanks, Professor. I'll be right back.
Don't bother. I won't need you anymore this afternoon. I have some work I want to do on my own.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. Off you go.
Thanks, Professor.
It's impossible, but it's true. The bacteria are dead. There is no living matter in the water at all. Do you realize what this means, Captain?
It could affect the entire marine food supply.
That's right. Plankton feed on these minute bacteria, and then larger forms of life feed on the plankton. And so you build the chain of life. With the bacteria dead,
And all marine life could die.
if we can't find out what's causing it,
And why have you come to me?
I think you may know something about it.
About what, girl? Well, about what?
Why the reef is dying.
Reef dying? People have been saying that for years. Pass me that counter, will you, please? Yes, for years, and every time it's for a different reason. Just now it's the crown of thorns starfish.
No, Professor, this is different. The bacteria is dying. It's killing itself off.
Bacterial bloom occurs when, for one reason or another, one species of bacteria undergoes a population explosion. Have you forgotten everything I ever taught you?
I remember that, but...
When this happens, the affected bacteria attacks and kills all the other bacteria in the environment. Then it turns on itself. Eventually, there is no bacteria alive. You say this is peculiar locally. Well, that's regrettable. However, we can't do anything about it, can we?
Professor, I made all the tests for bacterial bloom. It isn't that.
So you know better than your teacher.
Of course not, but I've checked...
My dear Miss Dean, you are quite at liberty to disagree with me if you desire to do so. But just now I'm very busy. I must ask you to leave and allow me to get on with my work.
I gather your friend wasn't very helpful.
No, I'm afraid not. But I felt there was something he could tell me. Something he should have told me before we contact the authorities. Well, there's not much I can do about it.
Miss Dean! Miss Dean, wait! It's Gail. She's sick. She's very sick.
Oh, it must be Jack's cooking. He's terrible. We should take him off the cooking roster. A fella could get poisoned. No, don't worry. Tracy will be back shortly and she'll have you right in no time.
Steve, Kip, the girl on the island's been taken ill. They're bringing her on board now. I want you to stand by to... Oh, what's the matter with you?
He's sick. And I don't think it's Jack's cooking.
Any progress?
No, not really. I thought I might be able to get a culture going, bring up the dominant bacteria. Still, we've got a live culture anyway, so that's some sort of progress, I suppose. How are Steve and Gail?
Well, they've still got a high fever. Can't get the temperature down. The boy said Gale hasn't eaten anything that could account for any type of poisoning, except fish.
From the reef?
Yeah, but that wouldn't apply to Steve. We haven't had any fish from these parts.
I know, but he cut his hand on the reef. Captain, we know what's causing their sickness. The same element that's poisoning the water. If I can find the answer to that, then I could probably...
Captain! Captain! Captain, come quickly. That fellow Derek is taken ill now, and Steve is much worse. I think he might be dying.
Professor Bernard? Professor, I have 3 people on my ship who could be dying, and Tracy thinks you know why. I'd like to hear about it.
It was a mistake.
What sort of mistake, Professor? The water is dangerously polluted, we know that. We must know why.
My research. My marine research. For months now, I've been working on a theory that I wanted to prove. There have been many nuclear tests on atolls in the Pacific with reefs similar to this one. I thought it would be important to find out how the food chain in the sea might have been affected.
You mean you've been treating the bacteria with radiation?
Yes. And then observing. Looking for mutants to try and find out what the survival pattern might be. Oh, the experiment was going splendidly. Till I made a mistake. Before getting rid of the affected bacteria, I used to pass it through that autoclave there. One day I was tired. I forgot.
You let the radiation bacteria go straight into the water?
Causing the pollution. So there's nothing we can do.
Yes. Yes, there is. If we knew which bacteria were affected, we could make an antigen, couldn't we, Professor?
I've no idea which is the affected bacteria. I wouldn't know where to start.
We start by trying to kill off the non-affected bacteria. Then if we succeed, we'll be able to breed up a mutant culture and make a serum from them.
I've tried. Oh, don't you think I've tried?
But I'll help you, Professor. I can't do it alone. But together we may come up with a solution. Please, we need you.
How are they? Worse. Their breathing is being affected. We're bringing them up on deck to give them some oxygen.
May I see them? No, there's no time. We'll do everything we can for them, but only you and Tracy can come up with the right answers.
Come with me, Professor.
You try for a doctor?
Nearest one's miles away on the mainland, and he's out on calls. Nobody's quite sure of where.
Right, well, let's get them up on deck.
Come and take over, will you? Here's what you do. Half a second burst, help him to exhale. Half a second burst, help him to exhale. You got it?
I got it, yeah.
Any change?
The boy is almost as bad now. Steve is the strongest and is showing the most resistance, but the respiratory trouble is increasing. How's it going below?
It's no use, Tracy, no use.
Well, perhaps if we...
We've done everything we can. There's no use going over everything again and again.
That's better than doing nothing. What did Darwin say about mutations? A mutant will only survive if it's a step forward in evolution.
Yes, that's right.
Then we must try seawater, plain unaffected seawater. The bacteria there will overcome the abnormal strain in the mutants.
And where are we going to get unaffected seawater? It'd be 10, 12 miles away. But you're right. It would help to clear the affected area. But it'll be too late to save those children. Look what I've done to them. I'd give anything to save them if I could. Even my life.
Professor, how long have you been working with the radiation bacteria?
Oh, months. Almost 9 months.
Could you have absorbed any of the bacteria yourself?
Possibly, but what does that matter? I'm finished. You could be right. Now, quick, first we must be sure.
Developed antibodies.
Then I may be able to save them.
Steve, now listen to me. The Professor's systems had time to absorb the mutants in small doses. So it's built up a system of antibodies that destroyed the bacteria. Do you understand that? Now, Tracy's making up a serum from his blood, which they think will cure you. The three of you. Now that you are still unconscious, so I can't risk trying it on them yet.
Because of the side effects.
Exactly.
Besides, you're the strongest, Steve. If it works on you, it will on them.
I always wanted to be a guinea pig.
Oh, you'll be talking about it for ages.
All right?
All right.
Lift sleeve.
I hope you know how to use that thing.
Don't worry. I've been practicing on oranges.
Valencia?
How are the patients?
Fine. How's Steve?
Never been better. That must have been good blood you gave him, Professor.
That's a blessing that is well, but they all are.
May I have a word with you, man?
Yes, of course.
I've had to put in a report about that radiation. You realize that?
Naturally.
I've also advised that we considered it had been eradicated with the test that you and Tracy did with the unaffected seawater. Nevertheless, they'll still be sending scientists in to check over the area.
I'd expected that. I've been very foolish. I should have sent for help long ago. But I was afraid. Afraid they'd take me away from the reef, that they'd think I was too old.
A very long and distinguished career, Professor. No one can take that from you.
Thank you. But it's true, you know, I am too old. It's time now to hand over to younger brains, to clearer minds, like theirs. They'd have died but for her. You know that, don't you?
Yes?
She always was a very fine student.
She had a very fine teacher.